I change clothes like my hoes. I love designer, and I change my flows like who knows. I want the commas, many Hondas.
Gear 5 broke the internet a few weeks ago, and for good reason. It's one of the biggest transformations in anime history. However, we're not here to talk about that because that's in the past. I'm here to actually talk about a different topic that I think will be a bit interesting for you guys. So stick around and tune into the end. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let's get ready for a great video. Now, everyone knows and everyone understands that Luffy honestly did not have the power to defeat Kaido. And Eiichiro Oda is actually riding himself into these plot holes with these characters that are just not strong enough to where he needs to increase their power level in a short amount of time in order to keep up with these super powerful characters that he's writing. So I call it the Dragon Ball Z effect because Akira Toriyama ran into this issue where he would have to basically give new transformations in order to justify Goku or Vegeta or whatever character defeating a very powerful enemy. So I can call that the Dragon Ball Z effect. Now let me provide some evidence supporting my claims. For the first part, in episode 1076 or 1077, I'm not too sure. There's way too many episodes of One Piece, honestly. But Kaido says something very interesting. He says that because in a flashback conversation between him and King, his vice captain or whatever he is, one of his 3 generals, he basically says that because King is looking for Joy Boy, Kaido says that he knows who Joy Boy is. Joy Boy is literally the one that defeats him. Like if he does exist, he'll be the guy to defeat him. Basically meaning that without plot armor, no one can defeat Kaido because Kaido is literally the strongest man alive. That's the moniker given to him. No one was stronger than him. He had the strongest haki. But Kaido states that if there is a Joy Boy and if he does come, he would be the one to defeat him because Kaido had honestly been searching for the thrill of battle for so long. Everyone he fought, he defeated. The only one close enough to give him that thrill, that rush, was, you guessed it, Odin. But even Odin, Kozuki Odin, lost to Kaido, and Kaido just started to feel that void of no one being able to defeat him. So the only one able to defeat him is Joy Boy, and of course that would be Luffy, further in stating that the plot armor is very strong and valid. Let me reference another issue with One Piece as a whole and Eiichiro Oda's writing. So usually if a character is too powerful, it's kind of hard to write in their demise, in a sense. Like if you see in the defeat of Big Mom and Kaido, they're not really dead, they kind of just lost. You know what I mean? Like Big Mom even says she'll be back. She got kind of knocked off of Onigashima. She didn't necessarily lose. I mean, she didn't necessarily die, which is kind of a thing in One Piece. Characters don't really die. For the most part, they just lose, but they do come back, usually a bit stronger or whatever the case is. I've referenced this in a lot of other videos. And as we can see, Kaido didn't lose himself. He fell in a pit of lava, but he's not dead. Like he's still gonna be alive to come back for round 2. And then I have to get into the actual stats and the actual nuances of the battle that makes me really understand that Luffy just is nowhere on par with Kaido. And this is why, if you watch my other videos on power scaling of One Piece, I like it and it's a bit interesting and more intricate. You have to go in depth because power scaling is not a finite thing. Like the most you can get is a bounty, but bounties don't really mean much in One Piece because someone can have a very high bounty because of what they did, but not necessarily, or who they associate with, but not necessarily be very strong or powerful. For example, Buggy, he is, I think, an Emperor of the Sea or a 7 Warlords, whatever he is. He's risen up in the ranks very high, but like the running joke is that Buggy is not that powerful, and we all know that, but he just tends to be in the right place at the right time to always get his bounty pretty high. Even someone like Usopp, if outside of Luffy's crew, the Straw Hat crew, I don't think Usopp would even have such a high bounty. It's just he runs with the right guys and he's associated with Luffy, making his bounty decently high. His bounty's probably higher than a lot of these pirate captains out there. Now let's get into the actual iterations of the battle. Big Mom aside, like that's obvious. Big Mom was actually kind of well rested for this battle. But Kaido, you guys need to understand, Kaido fought like 5 or 6 battles simultaneously, like throughout the whole Wano arc. He literally started off by fighting the Heart Pirates, the Kid Pirates, and the Straw Hats, basically the captains and vice captains. So it was like a 5-on-1, or is it 6-on-1? Yeah, no, it was a 5-on-1. Law's vice captain wasn't with him, but it was a 5-on-1 against Kaido. Oh, no, sorry. It was a 5-on-2 because it was Big Mom and Kaido against the 5 of them. But you see how staggered the fight was, yet they still fought. Then later, well, actually, before that fight even happened, he fought the Akazaya 9, which is basically Kinemon and all of his little samurai crewmates, basically Odin's retainers. He fought Odin's retainers to a standstill, defeated all of them, and even though, yeah, they're not anywhere near the pirates' captain's power level, they still, you know, gave him a little run for his money. Not a run for his money, but they, you know, they put a little pressure on him. So he fought that, and he then fought all of the Straw Hats, the Heart Pirates, Kid Pirates, fought them, knocked them all off. Luffy then came back for seconds after resting. Just when you look at it, Kaido fought a lot of times and he just really never rested, really. He just kept coming. And all simultaneously this whole time, he's using his flame clouds to move Onigashima, move his whole island into the capital of basically the Wano Kingdom. So you gotta understand, he's multitasking, he's doing so many things at once, and he's still wiping the floor with Luffy. Literally, Gear 4 Luffy really couldn't even touch Kaido. I think Kaido just letting him get his punches in, because it's kind of like in boxing, you know, you want to roll with the punches, you kind of want to take some hits too. You gotta take hits to give them. You can't just get hit. You gotta get hit a little bit. So it was just interesting to see that Luffy was honestly nowhere on par with Kaido at all. He literally, let's be real, he literally killed Luffy at a point. Luffy died. He died, which was what triggered the Gear 5 transformation. It's almost like Luffy was someone else. And there were points where Luffy was kind of falling out of Gear 5, you know? It's interesting because Luffy's Gear 5 wasn't even that much stronger than Kaido. There wasn't that much of a discrepancy in power level. Kaido still hung with him. You would think that the transformation would, vastly make a difference in their power to the point where Kaido couldn't even really fight with him anymore. But it wasn't it was much of a difference. It was just kind of Luffy was finally on par with him. And this is a very weakened and exhausted Kaido. Granted, Luffy was exhausted as well, but let's just say for the fair point of arguing that the plot armor is the reason that Luffy even won. And this is my last point that I wanted to get into with One Piece. The problem with Eiichiro Oda's writing is, and not to criticize him because I love the anime and not to get on him, but the fights get so long that instead of enjoying and anticipating the fight, we actually anticipate more of the ending of the fight. Because let's be real, the manga guys are way ahead of us. They already know what happens, so it's so hard to avoid the spoilers and all these things. So with One Piece, instead of let's give, for example, Jiren versus Goku, Dragon Ball Super. The fight was the anticipation. The actual fight was good. It wasn't too long. You get a couple episodes of a good fight, and that's what you're excited for. But with One Piece, you're excited for the end of the battle because the fight itself isn't really that action-packed. Maybe a couple scenes are action-packed, but it's really only the end. You want to know what's the finishing blow, because you kind of know they're gonna fight. They fight for 30 episodes straight in One Piece. So after a while, you're kind of done and you're exasperated, a little bit lethargic, and ready for the actual ending of the battle. That's where all the anticipation is. So I think that's a different thing with One Piece. That's a little difference in watching it and enjoying it. But to each their own, I still love the anime. I'm going to continue watching it, covering it as well. If you made it this far, definitely hit a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because we got some new videos and new content coming out soon. And thank you for skipping with me, guys. Channel's doing great, pumping better than ever. Share this with a friend. But before you go, remember to, as always, find your zen, your final form. I'll catch you in the next one, guys.
And I change clothes like my hoes. I love designer, and I change my flows like who knows.